Hey, folks, let me tell you what's been on my mind. So last night, I started catching up on the news, and I had to read one article twice because it was absolutely crazy. So while folks all around the country are struggling, trying to pay bills, trying to buy groceries, trying to just make it through the month, the Republicans in DC are talking about spending a $500 million on a ballroom. Yes, a ballroom at the White House. Now, I don't know about you, but it just pissed me off. Now, before I go any further, I want to say this. What happened at the White House Correspondents' Dinner was a scary situation. I've attended that dinner a number of times and once or twice with my wife, and I'm so grateful for that folks are safe. I truly am grateful for that. Nobody wants to see violence. Nobody wants to see chaos. But I also want to say this. We are not going to take a moment like that, a moment that should be about safety and reflection, making sure folks are protected, and then use that as an excuse to push through a $500 million vanity project. We're just not going to do that because that ain't about safety. It's about an opportunity and not the good kind. So, I think about often in these types of situations about the folks that I grew up with and around in Orangeburg. These are good, hardworking people, people like my grandparents, folks who get up early, they work long days, they come home tired, and they still worry about how they're going to stretch a dollar. And they're not asking for a whole lot. They're not asking for much. But what they are asking are these questions. Can I afford my groceries? Can I fill up my gas tank? Can I keep my lights on this month? That's what people are dealing with in my hometown of Orangeburg, South Carolina, and small towns across this country. So you mean to tell me while folks are going through all of that, Washington, D.C. and these MAGA Republicans are sitting around talking about crown molding and chandeliers? Come on, man. Come on. Now, I've been to the White House. I've been to state dinners. I've been to events out on the White House lawn. And let me tell you something. They know how to do it right. Beautiful, grand setups, elegant, world class. They don't need a new ballroom to host people with dignity and respect because they've been doing it for decades. So don't let anybody fool you into thinking that this is about necessity or safety because it's not. It's about vanity. Now here's the part that really gets under my skin because this ain't just about Washington. This also hits home for me. Lindsey Graham, yes, that Lindsey Graham, my senator, South Carolina's senior senator, the chair of the Senate Budget Committee, a man who should know better, and yet here he is at a press conference, entertaining this, defending this, going along with this. And you know what? It feels like no matter what gets said, no matter what gets proposed, he just goes along. I mean, I'm going to tell y'all the truth. Donald Trump could get on TV tonight and say that Lindsey Graham, you are an ass kissing skunk. And Lindsey would hop right on TV and say, "Well, Mr. President, I think you made some great, insightful observation." But folks, you know it's real because Lindsey isn't a leader. Most of these folks aren't. They aren't thinking of putting the American people first. Their ambition and urge to please Trump is their number one priority. But this is bigger than Lindsey Graham, and this is really about what the Republican Party has become. And I wouldn't say evolved to, it's almost a devolution instead of an evolution. Because there was a time, whether you agreed with them or not, that Republicans talked about fiscal responsibility. They talked about cutting waste. They talked about respecting taxpayer dollars. And now they're ready to throw a $500 million at a ballroom because one man wants it. Do you understand how unprecedented that is? A $500 million, not for a national emergency, not for infrastructure, not for health care, not for veterans, but for a ballroom. Funded in part by donors we don't fully know. with questions about the foreign money and foreign materials being utilized for this ballroom, and done without the clear authorization from Congress that it should get done. Folks, that's not conservative. That's not responsible. It's reckless. And it shows you just how far this MAGA movement has taken the Republican Party away from anything it ever resembled in the past. Because at the end of the day, this is about priorities. And you can tell what somebody values by what they fight for. And right now, we got Republican leadership in Washington fighting for a ballroom, while folks back home, folks that you know, are fighting just to stay afloat. Now, that tells you everything you need to know. This is not about the American people. This is about one man's ego, one man's power, building something flashy while ignoring the people who are actually hurting in this country. But here's the thing. In this country, we still have a say. We still have a voice, despite them wanting to take that away. And we still have elections. And there's an important one coming up this November. Folks are really going to have to make a choice. Do we keep going down this road? Do we turn a blind eye to this type of mess? Or do we send a message that enough is enough? Do we send a message that we want leaders who understand what real life looks like? Leaders who will say no to nonsense like this. $500 million, folks, for a ballroom while people are struggling to buy eggs and milk. That ain't right. It just ain't right. And deep down, I hope you all know that this is not right, but we have the power to do something about it.